Now, the Chicago Bulls have been going through an issue recently in the NBA. Now, there is three general areas of the NBA, an NBA franchise that people fall into. Either you're a contender, you're in a middle ground, or you're rebuilding. Now, if I'm an NBA team, I would like to be either a contender or a rebuilder because I know the direction I'm going in. But when you're in the middle ground, there's two gray areas in this middle ground. Now, in the middle ground, there could be either no man's land or it could be an area where you're pushing towards a contender. And the Chicago Bulls fall into this no man's land area. Now, the reason why the Bulls fall into this area is because they have players and they have stars that don't fit into a contending type of team. But their team isn't bad to be a rebuilding type of team. So it's really hard to see a direction for this team. Now, I'm going to talk about things in this video and what the Chicago Bulls can do and how they can really start the rebuild process they need to start.
Hey, 2021, I've been a little lazy. 2022, I'm popping out crazy. Joy to the world, joy to the fam. We cook up on Christmas, we going ham. We don't need no Santa, we worship the Lamb. The earth is the Lord, we taking the land. Joy to the world, Jesus was born. He died on the cross, the veil was torn. He rose from the grave, he settled the score. Call on his name, he got blessings.
Now, first, I'm going to start talking about Zach LaVine, the star on his team. Now, Zach LaVine his camp has been interested in a trade and looking at different type of teams that he needs to go to. And I agree with that on Zach LaVine's part because I don't think Zach LaVine is really going to go up more than he can right now. I think Zach LaVine is a good shooter. He's very underrated in his ability to score. I think he's a good average defender, but his playmaking lacks, and I feel like that's Zach LaVine's ceiling. I don't think Zach LaVine can be a franchise type of player, but I know Zach LaVine can be a good scoring second, third type option on a championship team. So I want to see Zach LaVine go to a team that is able to prosper and be able to help him. Because if he stays on a team like the Chicago Bulls or tries to go to a rebuilding type of team, it's not going to work out for him. So if I'm Zach LaVine's camp, I'm going to try to go to a contending type of team or a team that needs some more options to be able to really push that envelope, really push it forward. For example, at the Golden State Warriors need some more scoring offense next to Stephen Curry, as Klay Thompson has been washed this season, and also there's other type of players that don't know how to step up and be able to score over 20 points a game. So Zach LaVine will be a good fit there. The Miami Heat, I feel like Zach LaVine will be able to fit there as well. There's some issues there as Tyler Hill and Duncan Robinson have been playing good. So if you give it to Zach LaVine, you have to trade with them. So it's some teams that Zach LaVine is able to go to, and some teams that will help the Bulls out more, and that's what the Bulls need to do. The Bulls need to trade these players because you have DeMar DeRozan on your team as well, and DeMar DeRozan, I made a video of him in the past that I scrapped up. It was a video on how the Raptors failed, on how DeMar DeRozan failed the Raptors because he played so bad in the playoffs, and DeMar DeRozan hasn't played horribly with this Bulls team. But DeMar DeRozan is a very inconsistent star type of player. That's one. Two, when you have two of the same type of players complementing each other, they can sometimes work if one of the best players excels and is able to grow. For example, the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics play with Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and both of those players are very complementary to each other. They both play the same style, but Jason Tatum is still elevating his game and still getting better, so it's not going to plateau. With the Bulls, this team is where it's going to be at, and it's going to stay this way. And Zach LaVine, I don't really see him growing, as I said before. And DeMar DeRozan, we know how DeMar DeRozan is. He's not going to grow anymore, and he's getting older. So DeMar DeRozan has significantly improved from before. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he's still the same type of player he is. Now, I don't know what they can do with DeMar DeRozan's contract, as he is on a huge contract. I don't know what they can really do with that contract, but they need to trade DeMar DeRozan as well. I don't know what team wants DeMar, wants a player that isn't efficient at shooting threes. He's only a mid-range guy, and he's not a bad playmaker. He's not a good defender. So I don't know what type of team wants DeMar DeRozan, but there is a market out there for him, as DeMar DeRozan has been playing bad. He's still a good third or second option, a third option on a championship team, or a fourth option, or a good bench player. DeMar DeRozan is still good, so there's a be able to have a market out there for him. So that's the thing about DeMar DeRozan. Now, next I'm going to go to Vucevic. Now, this team tried to build a good team with Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Vucevic. And the thought was that Zach LaVine would be able to elevate and go to a different level, but he just hasn't. And that's not Zach LaVine's fault. Every player is going to be a franchise type player. So if Zach LaVine is going his part, Zach LaVine is still the best on his team. Vucevic is also inconsistent on this team as well. Vucevic is a very offensive and dominant center, and nothing wrong with that. But when you're on a team that needs defense, as this team needs some, they have good perimeter defense. They have Alex Caruso, who is a very underrated role player for this team. Alex Caruso is a very good role player in the NBA. But we have Nikola Vucevic, who is a very offensive-oriented center. When you have so much offense, Vucevic is not a defensive type player. So he's in the paint, but he is a defensive type center. And this team needs more defense, as this team is a very good, not very good, but a good offensive team. They know how to score. And they have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic. Alex Caruso is still a good scorer and a good point of attack defender. You have good scores and you have good players who are promising to score, but you don't have that many good defenders, as Patrick Williams is still developing into his defensive side. You have Alex Caruso, and you don't really have that many defenders that you need to really make this team actually good. But really, there is nothing that you do to improve this roster. There is nothing the Bulls can do to really improve this roster to be able to really make a push to the NBA championship. Even if they try to, their big three, quote unquote, is not good enough to even contend. DeMar DeRozan, I still do not trust DeMar DeRozan in the NBA playoffs. Doesn't matter. He can average third in the first round. But I know that when it gets farther in the rounds, he's going to show his inconsistencies again, because that's how DeMar DeRozan is. DeMar DeRozan is inconsistent in the NBA playoffs. Nothing wrong with that. But we know how he plays. We know how he is. So me trying to add him into a franchise, trying to contend, knowing that he's a good regular season player but not a good playoffs player, that wasn't a smart decision by the Bulls front office. Now, I commend them for trying to do something with this team after the GarPax era, and they tried to speak with this team, and it worked to a certain extent. But right now, the Bulls are in no man's land, and they need to do something about it. So I think they need to trade Zach LaVine to the Golden State Warriors, or a team that has promising young pieces, get some picks, and start a rebuild with this Bulls team. Because DeMar, LaVine, and Vucevic isn't going to work out.